everyone that got married was trained, prepared, advised, or counseled before they got married. Some got married out of emotion, some got married out of closeness, some got married out of spiritual coherence, some got married out of church affiliation, some got married out of family connection. And all these foundations were not laid. Now that they have found themselves in this particular challenge, what should they do? I come to say with all sincerity, at this level, the role of submission comes in. Because to be sincere, in any association, when people can no longer come to a consensus, the authority is asked to make a final decision. That's the reason why there is a head of a nation, there is a head of an association, where people argue, something called executive order. Okay, president, rule. Since we cannot come to an agreement, you have the final say. That is the place of leadership. I think at this level right now, when we come to the place of leadership, I think the decision of the head in that particular relationship supposed to stand.
I'm not sure Madam FORTINGLET will agree with you.
No, wait, I'm coming.
Okay.
You don't need to agree, except you want to separate. No. We are trying to avoid divorce by all costs, because if it doesn't go to that direction, you are going to hit the rock.
Many women will argue this thing
Absolutely.
Very well.
You are going to hit the rock. And this is where we have a problem, because the place of the role of a woman in marriage and the role of a man has so much been juxtaposed to the extent that you don't even want to find if the man has some audacity or right in that marriage. That's the truth. When we come to a place where both of us can no longer agree on issue, I think authority comes now. There are issues in this nation that we may bargain and bargain and bargain, and you have a presidential decree. According to the law, if you are sentenced to prison, you are supposed to serve 10 years. But if a presidential amnesty comes, you can come out of prison. That is where executive order overrules judicial order. And I think the family is a government, and the man is the executive order. When we negotiate on issues, you, my wife, because of love and concern and honor, we are going to deliberate on issues. We agree, deliberate and agree. But we'll come to a place where we can no longer agree. An executive hand is needed. It is not a day-to-day affair. It is in situations where we are blocked. When we are tight, we can no longer go forward. I think at that level, an executive order is needed. So when I'm saying this, people want to feel like I'm trying to subjugate or marginalize or subdue the woman. I'm not subduing the woman. It is not a day-to-day act. It is when we have come to a place where we can no longer agree at this particular juncture, a man should be given the opportunity.
Can you get back to my question? My question is, okay, you people want to move together so that you don't find yourself in this situation. Mm-hmm. What are those things that you must do so that you work together?
Mr. Leo,
even before setting out for the journey.
Before setting out, we have said that repeatedly. Sit down, identify your purpose, discover who you are. If the person you are coming to meet is not complementing what you are, it's not qualified for marriage in the first place. Now, we know that we are counseling people towards this direction. Now, what about people who did not sit down to negotiate these things? As we are talking right now, they are into this mess. That's what I want to answer. Because if Apostle Esingie would tell us how to prepare to get married, she would tell you, this man would tell you, I've spoken here that there's a difference between being ready for marriage and being prepared for marriage. Most people are ready, but they are not prepared. Being ready means you are matured. Developing female sexual characteristics, you are prepared. You are ready. Having a house of your own, you are ready. Getting a job with a salary, you are ready. Being independent, you are ready. But doesn't mean you are prepared. Preparation is far beyond readiness. Readiness has to do with maturity. Why? Preparedness has to do with mental, psychological, and emotional balance. Most people are financially prepared, age-wise prepared, academically prepared, but mentally and emotionally they are not prepared to handle marriage. They are not prepared. So if we want to talk about prepared, we have given all those strategies here. But I think what we are suffering right now is a group of people whom the father saw the girl, called the girl and said, you will be my son's wife. And then the son was called, and the marriage vows were connected, and the man doesn't know the woman's purpose, the woman does not know the man's purpose. The woman has now gotten up and say, I'm going abroad, and the man says, I want to do agriculture in Cameroon. These two persons, I'm telling you, if they don't come to a place where there is a ruling by executive order, there is bound to be divorce. Take it from my mouth.
Okay. There's bound to be divorce.
I tell you, you want to arrange everything. It's not everything that's arranged.
It is well. Let us take a listen to Mr. Asanji.
Mr. Leo. Good evening to our televiewers. Good evening to my co-panelists. Today we're talking about what couples must agree on before they say I do. Mr. Leo, there is a lot to agree on when it comes to marriage. Take note, it is two different people from two different backgrounds, having two different education, two different moral brought up, two different genders. You can name the differences, coming together to live as one. So if they must live as one and have a successful marriage, they must have agreement on a lot of things. That's why I have written a book on premarital agreements. I will publish it soon, before the year goes halfway. So there's a lot to agree on. If you don't agree on, it's just like they say, if a monkey and a fish decides to get married, where will they stay? So people must have agreement on what they want or what they want to see in their marriage before they even step in. Don't give room for assumptions, because that's what is always happening. Sometimes you see people, they give room for assumptions like, okay, normally this is how marriage is, so I think he just needs to understand, or she just needs to flow with it. People have assumptions and think that now this is how marriage is, so everybody just needs to understand and flow with it. It doesn't work that way. And there are no two marriages on this earth. Every marriage has its own. It's just like when you get married, they give you a blank book. You start writing your own story. Your marriage can never be like another person's marriage. And for that reason, it is very vital that you calm down, you sit down during that period of courtship. That is a period where you have agreement on what you want to see as well as what you don't want to see. Because sometimes people talk about what they want, but they don't talk about what they don't want. It's good to name what you don't want. Let your spouse know what you're expected of them. That's why during premarital counseling, I think one of the first things, or they say the second or third thing we do, is we check your marital expectations. Sometimes the kind of expectations you have about your spouse is not necessarily what it's supposed to be, and it's not the reality. It's not the reality. I think I counseled a couple last week or so for premarital counseling, and thank God the lady insisted that they should come in for premarital counseling. I tell you the truth, that marriage would have been a serious war. Why? Because the man has a particular set of beliefs which are not even right, but he thinks that is the ultimate. Now during counseling, we challenge those beliefs. It's not like we ask you to change your beliefs. It's not like we say, no, maybe you should stop believing no, but we want to be sure that your beliefs are, in fact, they are realistic. They should be realistic. So there is a lot that couples need to agree on before they even think of stepping in marriage. And one of those things I will talk about is, now people want to get married. I want to say, everybody is now thinking of going to America, maybe through Mexico, whatever way. What holds their future? What is their vision? This is always the basis. What is your vision as a man? What is your vision as a woman? How does your vision align? People need to come to an agreement on what you expect. Are you planning to stay here in Cameroon? Are you planning to go to America? Because don't get married and then after you start saying that, no, I don't want to live here in Cameroon, I want to live in America. Your spouse they were not getting married to you knowing that you're going to live in America. So you must have to make it plain. Bible says, write the vision, make it plain on paper. He that reads it runs with it. Let your spouse know, now, what you have as plans, so that they see if they are in agreement with it or not. Don't wait and say, no, America, for example, is normally it's a place where everybody wants to go to, right? Yeah, I think everybody wants to go to America. But it might not be your spouse's dream. Yeah, it might not be your spouse's dream. So don't really think that because everybody wants to go somewhere, it means that is the best place for everybody. So you need to talk about.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Asanji. Yvette, I'm going to take some messages and then, were you very comfortable with what Apostle Ambe was saying? That it is the man has to decide as the head of the family.
From the real sense of view, that is the normal thing to do, because the man in every home, there is an authority. There is an authority in every home, and the man decides. At one point, when you get to a place of confusion where we are trying to agree. Usually, it's often said, women, we just follow. We are just following. We follow the man. It comes a time when the man has to take a decision and the woman has to follow. But there is an exception to this, because it's not everything we call man that is husband. There are husbands and there are husbands. There are husbands who can carry their responsibilities, and when they are leading the right way, this is a husband. There are others who are drunks. They are just men. They are just wearing trousers, but they are not husband in the real sense of it. A husband is responsibility, is not name. Because when we are going to say things like this, some men out there who are not responsible enough, we just think that because they are married, they call themselves husband, they'll just want to intimidate and take decisions upon the women, and they want the women that they must agree. Like that kind of example, a man will be asking you that you must have 5 children. He is unable to even take care of the 2 that he has in the house. He is doing nothing. There is nothing he's doing that he is able to feed these ones. You see, there is a woman. She's the one working the money. She cares about the children. She's the one doing everything. The children's school fee, you are unable to pay. You are unable to feed the family. Yet you want her to have more children. To feed with what? So in that case, we will not say that the woman should just follow because the man says you have 5 children. You are the one. You know where it pains. You know where it hurts, and that's why you have to stand up. And you need to put the things on the table and talk. When you cannot agree, at this point, you, the woman, you are the one feeling it on your body. You can take a decision.
Meet a counselor.
No, you meet a counselor for sure. Like this, you meet a counselor. If the man is the kind who cannot be counseled, that is the reason why some men push women to do some things that tomorrow you start blaming them. We've seen cases of women who go behind their husband's back and seal their wombs. Yes, so that they cannot conceive anymore without the knowledge of their husbands. A lot of women have done that because the men are so irresponsible. But all they do is they keep giving you children, they keep impregnating you. The moment the child wants to grow a little, you are pregnant again.
But this level, how do we fix this? Are you saying that before engaging in marriage, you should agree on the number of children you take based on your financial planning?
In the area of childbearing, at that time when you're just getting married, you really have no clue. You cannot really say for sure. You can talk about your financial stand. You all are struggling and everybody on their side is working. By some reasons, you just need to agree. Because growing up, I had an ideal number of children I wanted to get. Those are some of the things my husband and I, we spoke about. It's true, when we got married, he was like, okay. In his head, he was like, okay, I need 5 kids. To me, the ideal maximum I've always thought about is 4. So okay, let's see. The difference was not too big, the range was not too big, so we're just like, okay, but let's see around this number and let's see what God has to say, because at the end of the day, there's God's decision in the whole thing. No, allow me say this. What if you agree that you need to have 5 or 4 kids and then you have none? Okay. You have none, because at the end of the day, you must have something you're looking up to. And then you're praying and trusting God to get that achieved.
To go to give birth on operation. They'll say no, leave it like that.
Or that's the kind of a case. Yes. What if we agree we want to have 5 children, and then when we start, we discover that at every time this woman has to be operated upon, so she must give you the 5 children because you agreed, or you agreed on the 5 children. So circumstances come along the way to change situations or to change things. And those are the kind of things you must take into consideration before you are stepping into this journey. You must agree. It's not an area you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to avoid talking about, like, you are getting married as a woman in your head. You don't want to give birth to more than 4 or 5 kids. But a man knows that you give him 10 children. And then before you know, you start fighting, but you have to sit and talk about it.
Apostle, let me just take some messages, and then if you have answers to them, you provide. I ask a question for you to come in. There's some persons watching who have problems here. They want you guys to answer. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Please, before getting married, ask the man where you guys will stay. Some men take a wife, stay in their house, parents. In their house, parents' house. The woman goes through pain, sorrow, and frustrations. He don't care. Wicked men are everywhere. Wow. Vanessa, why are you saying wicked men are everywhere? Okay, issue of house, take note of that. Vanessa is writing from Yaoundé. The Apostle Ambe, I am impressed by the experience you have about social issues. You have wisdom, my brother. Good evening to you guys, and thanks to your contributions. Please, if you sacrifice a lot, but your partner don't recognize it, what will you do? Ita is writing from Yaoundé too. Marriage is not for kids, so we should first study each other before agreement. So before going into marriage, we should learn from your partner, know he or she will well, so that it will not affect your marriage. Okay, Mr. Leo, good evening to you and your panelists. Please help me if it is right for a man to propose to a woman on phone after having actually met each other physically, but who both live in different towns. Our is writing from Tico. Chai, Apostle Ambe gets sense. Good evening, Mr. Liu and wonderful cream of relationship experts. Many of us are already into the dilemma and need a way out. Where couples don't conflict based on mistakes made before marriage. Okay, Kome is writing from Limbe. Kome, your message is not so clear. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and to all the great minds that thank you for the program and the topic. I really needed this to make the right choice. Ngwe is writing from Small Babanki. Good evening to all in the house. Thank you, Apostle Ambe. At a certain point in time, I was feeling frustrated, but thank God he was smart to look into the case of those who are already in the dilemma. Okay. Good evening to you all over there in the studio. I love your topic for tonight. You cannot fully know a man or a woman's vision until you both are into full matrimony. To my opinion, go into marriage with faith and trust God for a successful marriage. Bishop Ndigi Jim, writing from Douala. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I love the team in the studio. God bless you all for the knowledge you are giving out to the society. I think couples must first of all identify each other, set a common goal before trying to help each other achieve their personal goals. Okay? Setting their goals as a couple before helping.
As individuals, I think you said your goals as individuals.
I think couples must first of all identify each other, set a common goal.
Okay.
That a common goal as a family. Please, I would like us to look at that before trying to help each other. Personal goal. Okay? This boils down to what my auntie there said, that communication is most important and couples must be very truthful to each other. Bless Ngawi, writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Liu. One of the reasons divorce rate is in a high rate is because of the absence of that executive order, as Apostle Ambe is talking about. Pastor Nit is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and to everyone, panelists. The program this evening. Couples have a lot to agree on before making up their minds to live as a couple. Going by what defines marriage in our society, there is a lot of agreement to he, don't, and it begins by finding a common ground. By finding that thing you both share in common. It's not just about what is common in the definition of marriage. It has a lot to do with agreement, and I think that if the woman believes in the man's vision, there will be little or no misunderstanding, which brings me to whether the man in a marriage setting is ready to be a husband, if the woman in the same marriage setting is ready to be a mother. Once this is figured out and both are ready to make it work, any sort of egoistic influence, Ate Samuel is writing from Yaoundé. Yes, somebody is talking about house, others are talking about common goal before individual goal. And some people are saying that a pastor says we should walk into marriage with faith. Yes, that is God is going to work things out.
Okay. All right. Like, we go back to the beginning, because the best place to start is from the beginning. I always tell people, you must understand character traits understand character traits and behavioral patterns, how people behave, how people operate. There are some people that are very good in accepting all you say. Yes, it's fine. Thank God. Now, but when you now in the whole soup, they change. That's what we talk about human behavior. It fluctuates with time and everything. Now, that's why you need to check temperaments, because people like the sanguine, they can talk from Genesis to they can make plans and make so many promises. Now, but there are some other people who have the character trait that what they have said and what you both have said, una go hold them, they don't go change them. Yes. Even when the time to change it comes, you say no, we don't talk same. Yes. So be careful and know who you are making plans and agreements with. Yes. That is how it operates. That's what I want to tell you. I'm going back to character traits and understanding behavioral patterns. Some people are very quiet. They listen as if they don't listen. Mammy, they talk, you know they talk. Leave V as if they so leave me if she don't quiet. Time where you don't, she don't quiet, you'll see that you will start bring the talk again back. Understand those kind of concepts. If you cannot tolerate a quiet woman who doesn't speak when you want the person to speak, please don't go. I am telling you the truth. Don't follow people you cannot manage their traits. This kind of a man that when he's angry, he will shake place. You will see as if they don't come out animal. Obasanjo no come out. That kind of a man, please be careful. Because some of you just want to marry. You want to just marry. At least to get a name that you're married. But you have not understood behavioral patterns and character traits. There are people who you will make agreement today, both of you, they will not keep it. You understand? And now there are some other people that are competitive. They like to compare. You will see, you take your own decision, you say, me too, I'm gonna talk. And this argument and everything. So now, if it comes to this place where this man wants to take the final decision to that competitive woman, which you say, as he must, I don't talk now, me too, I must talk my own. Then we will finally agree, and both of you never agree. It will become a problem. I come back to this area of living in parents' houses. Please, for the sake of your pride, your honor, and your respect as a man, never go to live with your wife in your family house. Number 2, for the sake of the peace between you and your wife, and for the comfort, because some women they so the life for shout time they do that thing. So by the time you go to your house and you begin to, she want to shout, she cannot shout. She will bring problem. And there are many problems. Yes, some women like those things. Now you don't carry go for their house. She cannot express herself. Your sisters are there to control your wife. Tell your wife to come and cook when you want to cook. When you want to do this, some women will not take that thing. She will try to take it for 1 year, 2 years. By the time it's getting to 3 years, she will expose. She will explode and cause a lot of problems. Why are we having problems today? A lot of problems. She wants to go for weekend every week. She wants to go for places every distance. Look, please, I am begging you, never. And even besides living in a family house, don't always like to rent rooms that maybe people cannot express themselves. There are some people who enjoy quarreling. They want to quarrel and feel fine. Say, leave a man talk. I want talk, feel fine. Please leave. Look.
It's also an issue of means.
That's what I'm saying. That you can go and look for a house somewhere which is cheap and people are not too crowded, because some people like quarrel. Some of the men like quarrel like woman. We have seen those kind of things, and we know of girls that if they don't talk back, they will not feel fine. Those are their temperaments, those are their culture, that is how they were raised. We must consider all this, because this thing we are talking about, having a family agreement, you say two cannot come together before except they agree. They agree on what? They have to first agree on their both self. This is our quality, this is who you are, this is who I am. By the time we come, when we make this agreement, this is what we're going to do. Now you can also make provision for changes. Always agree. If you know that you're having a melancholic woman, make provision for change. You say, but as you see, we agree with it. So if you see change, so that means to put them for a mind, say it go change, because melancholic people, they know how to keep those things. When they keep it, they will be holding it after 15-20 years that this is what we said and this is what we're going to do about it. And that is why I'm trying to tell you people, some of these things we see them every day. We understand these things every day. Now look at it. By the time you are choosing and entering to marriage, don't go by faith or by this thing, don't go by it. Take your time and plan. Everything is planned. God has given us wisdom. He said wisdom is the principal thing. Get wisdom. But we all that get understanding. He's talking about planning and arrangement. Put the right things in the right place and whatever. At least get a job. At least get something serious that you can be able to take care of a woman at least some level. And then, you know, some of these professional men who decide to go and marry women in the village thinking that, no, that woman is very humble and everything. All what they have done is that they have measured on one concept. The concept of humility. Not also giving provision of other concepts. There is this concept of they call it gemaphobe. This concept of gemaphobe, it has to do with cleanliness, the ability to be clean all the time. And you are this man that likes everything to be in order. You want to, you know, I don't want me shoe before you, I don't want me this thing for you, and everything. Some women are also like that, who are obsessed with cleanliness. And then you now consider only humility. Marriage becomes so sour because the woman is very humble. I know of a man that is saying that all you know is only how to cook and clean house. You don't know what that is. You don't know what that is. But he was going to look for a humble woman, a woman who can cook, a woman who can do other things, but never considered that there was a day that this woman is going to confront dignitaries, who is going to express herself properly.
So many things have been said here. Good evening, Mr. Leo, and to all in the house. Your program is very educative. Thank you, Mr. Leo, for educating us Cameroonians. Mr. Leo, please let me ask how Ewane or restate be stopped. That is cohabiting. Okay, how should come and stay be stopped? Okay, the both of you should just decide now. Go back to your father's house. Either the man leaves, because come and stay. There are men who come and stay with their women now. Yes. Good things to you guys. Please help me with this. What if a man gets married when things were going on well with him? By then, his wife was not working. At some point of time, he lost his business and his wife started working. Then the wife started seeing the man as nothing, and man decided to travel outside the better to better his condition. Is that a bad decision? Okay, good evening in the studio. Thank you all for the knowledge. My question is, in case where both spouses are working, can the matter concerning who handles what in the house what be discussed? That is, does the cooking or washing? Okay, I think that is also an aspect to look into. Yes, good evening, Mr. Lou. Thank you for your teachings. Please, what if you discover some behaviors in your spouse okay, I don't know, you don't like when you are already married? How do you handle it? Because at times, no matter how long you are in a courtship, you won't be able to know your partner fully. Remelin, writing from Amanda, if you are in the house with a man who hides every bit of his finances, what can you do? I discovered his passbook while mopping the house under a chair. Okay. Greetings to you guys. Please help me with this. What if a man gets married when things were going on well with him? By then his wife was not working. At some point, okay, I think you're sending this twice. Good evening to you all. I am in a relationship for 5 years now, and I have plans to go see my partner's people. But she keeps pressuring me up to an extent of telling me that if I don't marry her by the end of the year, she's leaving. The problem is she has never spoken about our future in the next 5 years. All she wants is marriage. Okay, you are with her. You are supposed to have noticed some of her character traits, and also from observations. I'm sure you talk also with some of our friends and like. But I think that you both should sit down after this program and talk about the future, how you want things to be next 2, 3.
She doesn't know what to do.
Yes, but
maybe she's just expecting the man to take the lead. Has he been able to sit down
yes,
and initiate, and the woman does not say anything about it?
Yes, but I want us to look at this. Almost everybody is talking about we should take care of this, we should do the profiling. Nobody's talking about love. You know, we married today because I feel die for this guy, I feel die for this girl. Where is the place of love before engaging in marriage?
Oh yes, very big.
Nobody's talking about this yet.
Yeah. You have asked the love doctor. Okay. This a little bit. Please permit me to say something, especially with respect to what Apostle Ambe said, and with all due respect. You know, the Bible says that wisdom, true wisdom, is a house built not through faith and prayer, through wisdom is built, and through understanding it is furnished with every good thing. And we approach this topic, know that every topic we say here cannot really necessarily apply to everybody. I think we should not, while we were, yes, a lot of people were in the marriage and they were expecting some answers, but I want us to look at the topic on the screen, and you will see that it is why couples must agree on before saying I do. So don't blame us when majority of us, I know Apostle Ambe took us to, we already I do, but that was not really the topic. He was the one who was going somewhere with all due respect, sir. So I just wanted to say that you were the one who took us out. Well, okay, what we must do before we say I do. And now you have talked about the place of love in before I say I do. I've always said this. There's one passage that changed my whole life. And one day, one of my son's wedding, I began preaching it. Then one old pa came and greeted me after. Say, my pikin, I wish my woman be there for hear the message. I said, why? He said, I have never seen it like this. And the passage is this. We always quote the first part. It says, all things work together for good to them that love God. This is where people always end. Then the second part, one day the Holy Spirit opened it up to me. And to them who are the called according to purpose. Then God told me, I love everybody, but I don't call people based on love. I call people based on purpose. It means, I told my son, I said, it means, madam, yeah, there are many people on this earth that this boy could love. But the day he singles you out and brings you to the altar for you to spend your life on earth together, it cannot just be because of love. Because that feeling of love, if we are honest, it can be shared with a lot of people. But you will discover that when it is narrowed down to purpose, fewer people will become qualified to spend their lives with you. This is the truth. And until we understand this, many Christians are always, in fact, a lot of time when I was preaching, I said, yes, as a bona fide tongue-speaking Christian, you can love 3 women. They were like, what? I said, it is, even Papa God, like Apostle Ambe said, even Papa God loves everybody. Do you know how many people he loves? So this is it. Now,
this is something we are going to discuss one day. This is, can you love 2, 3, 4
we will
persons?
Discuss it. It
and,
is very
and I asked
possible.
the person that, okay, if you love this man today and he dies, will you love another?
He said, yeah, of course, because the capacity is there. We have the capacity to love. Yes, it is there. And if we don't understand this, love now cannot be the underlying factor of why you would tell somebody I do to spend all your life with. Perfect. This is a reality we must settle on, because there is a day, even as a girl, as a man, you will know there's a day a girl just wakes up and that very man who is sleeping beside him is boring. Even as married people, they will tell you, sometimes you sleep in the house. I used to laugh when people, I was talking one day, one of my programs, I say, this is you want to marry because you want to stay on somebody's chest. I say, go and ask married people. They say, they will enter and give a high five and sleep. Now, buttocks to buttocks. Your head is heavy for chest.
Some of you do high five.
Your head is heavy for chest. Are you getting me? This is a reality. But some are picturing that marriage is sleeping on the chest for 16 hours. That's not true.
That's telenovela.
That's telenovela.
But that's how they see now.
Yes. So because there's a day, even based on your hormone, in fact, there's a day a woman gets up and her period starts, everything's irritating. You want to touch her back, go brush her mop. You know, all of this, everything is irritating. This is true. So you would
stand naked in front of you and it means nothing.
And it means nothing. So we must be very careful. There is a time that the only thing that keeps the two people moving is because together they are doing great things. Together, it's like their wall together is creating value. Their wall together. So until we understand this, you cannot tell somebody I do because of a feeling. After 2-3 years, that feeling can fade. Feeling can wane. A lot of things can come in, because if there was a feeling based on shape, 2-3 children would take that away. If there was a feeling, there's so many reasons you can do this, but one thing will not change: your direction. If you keep moving towards the same direction, you will discover you are in the same bus with that person all your life, even when you don't plan to.
Yes.
So this is the reality. If both of us are going to Yaoundé and we take Amomezam or Vatican, as long as we keep on our journey to Yaoundé, you and I will be in the same bus, without struggling, without fighting. So this is something that I know a lot of people, unfortunately, Mr. I'll tell you this as a counselor, we have handled relationship, I've handled marriages for this number of years, and I'm sure many of you counselors here have even done that more than me. I will tell you one thing: more than 90% of the people who come to me for marriage counseling, who want to get married, when I ask them, why do you want to marry this, the lady say, I love him. and the man say, I love him. In fact, it is always very sickening. We start now asking them questions. One guy called me from it was an European country, I've forgotten, and the lady was here. He was telling me, oh, I have this lady, I want to get married, I don't know about the girl, so please, can you call us? I put a WhatsApp group, put both of them inside, and then I asked about 4 or 5 questions. When I answered the question, I asked the question, and I asked the girl the question, and the girl answered. Then the guy wrote me personally on WhatsApp, man of God, oh, thank you. I said, what? He said, and now it's something, then they come from my head.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, they realized that what he was about to go into would have been.
Good evening, Mr. Leo and the great minds in the studio. This topic is educational, but we love to ask how can the financial stuff or bills be handled before and after marriage, and how the reasoning of situations, especially during misunderstanding, be handled. More still, does love survive in a relationship? Kudos to all. It's Nelson Gomez writing from Sang Melima. Can love only alone survive in a relationship? Yes.
Okay, he's mostly concerned with the financial aspect.
He
wants to know the role of money, money and marriage
before and within the marriage cycle. But you should also answer his question whether love alone can ensure that a marriage survives.
The love doctor has just told us love cannot be the underlying factor. You cannot base your marriage on love. As a matter of fact, when I was getting married, I'm very happily married. But when I was getting married, the issue of love, the man of God who counseled us, he was like, Harry, what's wrong with you? Every young girl who comes here to get married are very excited. But you seem not to be excited. What's the problem? Our issue was not love. I told him that I don't want to make an error. I don't want me a square peg in a round hole. I just want to be sure that I'm doing the right thing. And I want to be sure that he's the right man. Even at the end of it, even on the last day, if I can ascertain that he is not the right person, I'm ready to cut this off. And at the end of the day, with all the process and all of that, before we got into it, and then I discovered that all of that was okay. You get the point. So love cannot really be at the base. Now he asked a question on finances. Finances is one of those very vital issues in marriage, which you cannot want to close your ears or your eyes to it. When you are getting into marriage, and even when you're already married, you must be alert. Somebody once said that the love for money is the beginning of all divorces in marriage. And statistics have proven that 89% of marriages that have divorced, if you want to check, you discover that money matters came into the whole thing. Money matters is something, it's a very serious factor in marriage that a lot of people, it's topmost. Yeah, a lot of people, they don't look at it. It applies equally both to the rich, the poor, the young, the old. The issue of money, if you don't handle it well, I tell you, you will not go far in your relationship. Now, why is money a problem in a relationship? The idea is this: everybody, we all have the definitions we make about money. Money to me, what money means to me might not mean the same thing to you, Mr. Leo. Money to me might mean fame. It might mean that I have to be beautiful. It might mean that I need to drive in a big car. But money to you might mean investment. It might mean something else. It might mean, it depends on the interpretation you make about money. And we have these diverse views about money simply because of obvious reasons. First of all, we are different, from sex to character, from family backgrounds, from the culture, from the pattern of growth and all of that. We have diverse views of money, and that's why we always have those challenges in the area. And why do these challenges come up too as well is because, one, it's always who works the money. Because couples sit down before you start making a problem, like who is the one who works the money? Two, who is the decision maker when it comes to money in our marriage? Three, who is the manager? Who actually manages money in our relationship? Four, the fact that the inability to reconcile our divergent views, our different views. We are unable to settle on the fact that, okay, since to you money means that we must just be investing and going, to me money means I have to buy my big cars and ride in them. So the inability for us to reconcile all of this, that's one of the reasons why there are always challenges when it comes to the area of marriage or in the area of money. So what am I advising? To me, before you get married, or if you're already married and you're facing these challenges, money is an aspect, is a problem in your relationship. You have to define it clear. You have to define it clear. And to look at it, God, first of all, when he created the institution of marriage from Genesis, he said it's not good for a man to live alone. I'll create for him a helpmeet. He said, for this reason, a man shall leave his mother and father and be cling to his wife, and the two shall be one. You are one, not only in love, not because you sleep on the same bed, you kiss and have children. You're one even financially.
You can only kiss to have children.
Whatever. The financial aspect in your marriage, if your marriage must work, if you must have a good financial system, we have basically, I'll advise 3 systems. There are three systems that operate in marriages. There is a no accountability system. A no accountability, like you have your money, I have my money. You know where you keep your money, I know where I keep my money. I spend my money the way I want, you spend the money, your money the way you want.
Yes, but
the consequences is this. The consequences is this. Tomorrow, something maybe we must not have invested. There are things that are lacking because we didn't reconcile our views.
Madam fORTINGLET, what are the decisions you should take before starting to live together? As far as finances are concerned, are you supposed to have a joint bank account?
That is where I'm heading to, Mr. Leo. No, that's where I'm heading to. Just excuse me. Yes. That's where I'm heading to, right?
No accountability.
Just like Apostle said, just like this Apostle said, there are a lot of people. It's not only those that are getting into. There are people who are already into. That are facing. So whatever discussion we are discussing, at the end of the day, it should benefit those that are getting into, and maybe those who are already into the mess.
No accountability system.
Yeah, there are people with no accountability system, which that is not what you want to incorporate into your marriage if you're yet to get married. That's not the kind of system you want to incorporate. Secondly, there is a joint account system, which some families or some marriage, some couples want to incorporate. The joint account system, sometimes you want to look at it to be the best. It could be, having a joint account does not mean that you make the same decisions on finances. We can have a joint account, but I decide how I take money, I do what I want to do with it. We have not agreed. And there is the joint accountability system. Accountability means you give an account of what you do. Okay, the joint accountability system, we must not have the same account. We may have separate accounts, but before I use money from my account, you know what I want to do with it. You know what we are talking about. Accountability. Having a joint account does not mean we have the same accountability system. Please check it and just try to make. Yes, there is an account. So what we are trying to recommend, if you are getting married, ensure, because the joint accountability system is the oneness. It is the oneness. It is that accountability that ensures that we are one. We are deciding. I am saying that, okay, I know as a wife, I know my husband have 10, he has 5 million in his account. He knows I have 3 million, 10 million in my account. So before he touches money he wants to use for a project, we sit and we're like, okay, what do we do? If he's buying a land or we are buying a land, we are deciding, okay, since this land costs 10 million and this account has 8 million, let's remove this from here, remove this and put it together. That is the joint accountability system. Means you know what we are doing and we work together as a team. That works, especially in cases where there is transparency in finances. Because the problem sometimes comes when there is no transparency. When the my money concept. In marriage, there is this concept of it is my money. We don't decide how I use my money. I buy my clothes, I do this, I do that, It is my money. But if you have the joint accountability system, it is the oneness that God describes in the book of Genesis of marriage. So you decide what to do, when to do, and how to do it together. And it is very healthy for families.
Are you sure that is what God said?
He says one. Both of you become one. One, you're one. It means you're cleaving. When you cleave together. Okay. And now, why should that be adopted? It is because one, we are not the same the way we react towards money. There are people who are spendthrift. There are others who are shopaholics. They just want to spend the money the way it comes.
Okay, let me take some messages and then also you come in here. Good evening, Mr. Leo, and to all the panelists in the house. This is an interesting topic today. Please, I need help on this. When I was with my woman but not yet married to her, I was working, and anytime I take my salary, I always bring it to her first. But ever since I got married to her, things have been tough for me. No work. I hardly provide for her now. She has been the one assisting me financially, but anytime we have a misunderstanding, she'll ask me to call her family and tell them that I don't want the marriage anymore, to the extent that she will be telling me that if things don't work out well, she will leave me and I will settle her. Please, I need help concerning this. I'm writing from Equatorial Guinea. Apostle Ambe will respond to you. Let me take 2 more messages. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm impressed with the program on marriage counseling. Please, my question goes to the pastor. He said before getting into marriage, one should be prepared, matured, and not just ready. What if both couples agree on a place of abode or settlement and tomorrow one of them decides not to respect it? What is the remedy? Good evening, Mr. Liu and the entire panel. This program is so educative. I'm learning so much from all the panelists that I cannot afford to miss any of your Tuesday programs. I've seen a lot of failed marriages around me, probably because of this lack of agreement before going into marriage. Thank you for this great program. We must learn from the mistakes of others. It's not all about love, being ripe or ready for marriage, but being prepared in every aspect is very important. Celestine is writing from Bomenda. Greetings to you all. I'm Roland Grail, Portugal, from Boya. I have been with my partner for 3 years now, so I talk of getting married with separate. She said if that be the case, she's not interested, so I don't know if she's for my property. Okay, you mean separate property?
Separate property.
Okay, she says no. Okay. Yes, Apostle Ambe.
Yes, the young man in Equatorial Guinea who said that when he was working, he brought his salary to his wife. And now that things are bad, he's no longer working. The wife now is the one sustaining the house, and then she keeps disrespecting him. Because in a nutshell, to put all what he explained there, shows that the woman disrespects him. And then secondly, the woman is asking for a divorce indirectly because she feels like she's no longer comfortable in the home. The first thing you have to understand is that psychologically and religiously, or traditionally speaking, the society has conferred responsibility on the man. Whether you understand it or not, you just understand that. That's the reason why if a woman can stay in a man's house for 10 years, she's not working, it's no news. But when a woman feeds a man for 1 year, it becomes news. That is not because we men are hated. That is what the tradition has planted in the minds of people.
But
they know.
But is that not what the Bible says, Apostle?
What?
Is a man not supposed to provide for the family?
They say anyone that does not provide for his own house. They didn't say man. 1 Timothy 5 verse 8.
Yes.
He said anyone that does not provide, is any man.
An infidel.
Anyone that does not is worse than an infidel. Anyone, that one falls between the man and the woman. So I think we should be very, very careful here. We should be careful here.
Also, be careful and careful. So
No, we should be careful here. Because this responsibility, because you don't know what I've done with that Bible. I have squeezed that Bible.
Yeah, but the Proverbs, is this Proverbs 31? The woman.
Proverbs 31, the woman that
provides.
provides. Listen. Don't let us not twist this thing. It is tradition that has given the society the impression that the responsibility of a house or a home is in the hands of a man. It's a big lie. Big lie. A woman was created to help and help. Help means, if Mr. Lefor is a woman, I am a man, and we have to carry this thing, definitely we have to share the weight equally. The other side of that table is the same like this one. Now, the reason why much is thrown on the man is that uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. It says the man is the head. The head does not mean that he's the only provider. It says anyone that does not provide for his house, especially members of his own household, is worse than an infidel. Infidelity is not a male description. There are infidel women. I think we should understand what I want to say these things. People don't want me to say truth. I am saying truth. So, brother, the idea that it is a man that must have a house, it is a traditional mentality, not even a biblical mentality.
yes, for that.
It's a traditional mentality, and because of that, women feel like it is a right and a privilege to stay in a house and eat when the man is providing, when there's no problem. But when the man can no longer provide, it becomes a crime.
Yes.
Number two, any woman that disrespects you, not because you are lazy, but because you don't have the opportunity to provide, did not initially love you. That's the truth.
Yes, that one we agree.
She did not initially love you. Yes. Because there is no way you will determine a man's condition in marriage throughout. Yeah. Initially, you were not lazy, you were working. And when you work, you were sincere to have brought your salary to come and show the woman, which is very normal. Which is very normal, to show your wife your salary. But you see, I used to tell people that show woman the money you have to spend. Don't show the one you will not spend. Yes. Because if your salary is 200,000, she will make B for 200. Yes. The day it climbs to 250, the B will go to 250. Yes. She has B for 1 million, yes, waiting the day her salary will reach 1 million. Yes. Yes. So show her the money that is spendable, not the money. Yes. So the error you also made was that you showed her even the money that was not supposed to be spent. Yes. Yes. You were supposed to have been taking 200,000 and show her 100,000.
Yes, that's what we can
say. Mama, this is what we have. She will be very smart. I know women.
Yes.
A woman can plan with 5,000 the same way she will plan with 50,000. Her plan only changes when the figure increases.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
Give her 3,000, she will cook you soup with meat.
Yes.
Give her 10,000, she will still cook you soup with meat. Yes. The meat will not drop. It will be the same because she has managerial skill. Now I want to put me to talk. So, brother, that lady initially did not love you, because I don't think crisis moment in your life should make a woman lose respect for you. You are not. There's a difference with a man who is totally lazy and has abandoned his responsibility. Not you who was working. It's just because life did not favor you. You've not gotten a job again. Then this kind of situation, your wife is asking for wedding. My brother, you are in a very deep mess.
Okay, you are in a very deep mess. Let's take a second intervention from Miss Asanji, Yvette from Bamenda.
Don't get married and after marriage, you not tell your wife as a man, she has to move in and stay with you and your parents. Let her know beforehand if you cannot go out and rent a room. I want to call a room because sometimes people quickly shy away from, I cannot go and stay in one room, I better stay with my parents. The Bible says a man shall leave his father and his mother. Leave your father and your mother before you cleave to your wife. Cleaving to your wife in the presence of your father and your mother, in fact, those are extra challenges that you have to face, or your spouse have to face them. Let's not go into that. So when we talk about even renting a room, it's because people might give excuses of they don't have money to start with an apartment. I can tell you that it's better to stay in one room with your spouse than to stay in your mother's or your father's compound. Leave your father and your mother. The Bible is not foolish to give us that instructions. God already knows the kind of challenges that will come when you are living with your father and your mother and you want to get married. There's a lot. I mean, to be honest, marriages that are living that way will obviously have more problems. In fact, more unnecessary problems even. When I say unnecessary problems, what do I mean? There are times that, the things that your mother, you and your spouse could do them and it's normal to you people. But your husband, your father-in-law or your mother-in-law will not look at those things to be normal. No, not in any way. So you must learn how to, leave your father and your mother as a man before you get married. Except you want to tell us that it's a house you inherited and which you're staying in there alone. Okay, now keeping that aside, you must also agree on number of children you want to have. Agree on how many children. Sometimes when I'm counseling couples during premarital and I ask them, how many children do you plan on having? The guy can say 5 children and the lady says 2 children. Now the lady wants to put to bed just 2 children because maybe she does not want her body to get deformed. And the man is thinking of even 7, these traditional men, they can even think of 8 and 10 children. And if you don't communicate it, if you don't talk about it, and when do you want to start having those children? When? because it is also as important as having the children. So people get married and they are like, okay, we'll start having those children, we'll start having our children after, you know, after a year. Let us take time to bond, enjoy. So people say, okay, we want to get married and start having our children immediately. So the number of children is as important as when do you want to start having those children. I'm just naming few, but like I said, my book will be published out soon. So if you really want to have an understanding of what you need to agree on before getting married, you might want to have that book. It is a very important book. It gives you a guide to everything you need to talk about before you're even thinking of getting married. Because there are things that if you don't talk about them now, if you get married and want to talk about them, it will be more challenging. It will be more difficult for, you know, for that agreement to take place. Whereas that agreement could have taken place easier, or it can be lots easier if you talk about it before marriage. So there are some things that it's better to handle them before marriage, not in marriage. That's why our second topic is talking about if you can ignore red flags and change them. I'll be coming back in the second topic to talk about that, Mr. Leo.
Very much, Ms. Asanji, and we are moving straight into our second topic for tonight. I'm sure we're just going to have one round. Yes, ignored red flags or weaknesses in either the man or the woman. You see this guy, you know, you see all the red flags in him. You see this lady with all the red flags, and you move into the marriage with faith, like the pastor wrote, hoping that you will pray by special grace of God, things are going to change. Is it possible?
Mr. Leo, before you met that man, that thing has been there for long. If God could not change it before you came, is it you? You want to change what God could not change before you came? You met somebody who has been grown. God knew him. God knew his attributes. You met him with those characteristics in him. And God has not changed those characteristics. You came as a man to change those characteristics. It's sometimes very, very funny, sometimes that we are trying to walk what God's supposed to have walked. We are trying to help God do some things that God himself has refused himself to do them. I think people truly change based on personal transformation. Most people who change, they make decision to change. Nobody will come and coax you, force you, intimidate you to change. Even in marriage, before you see a man take a decision to make a U-turn, it's his personal decision. I think if people have not made personal decisions on issues, you cannot change them. Preach as you want to preach. Even in church, you will preach and anoint them with oil. Once they hold on to that philosophy, you are wasting your time. You are wasting your time. So it is but certain that I think people sometimes change when they make personal decisions. So for you to think that you can change a man because you are getting into your life, or change your man, get into a woman's life, you are making a mistake. You remind
him now you are now a husband and that you have kids. So,
Mr. Leo, that husband is a title. That man is a personality. People can get married as husband and still be asking as free boys. There are men who got married to their wife while going to nightclub. After getting married, they were still going to nightclub. Nightclub is an inherent ability in them that they are not willing to stop by any means.
10 years of
they are still going to their nightclub, so you cannot stop them. You come, you think you want to change a man. Remember, those habits have been formed for about 30 to 40 years, and you want to take 1 year to change it. It's absolutely impossible. So we advise you, what you cannot accommodate, what you cannot adapt, don't enter into. As a matter of fact, when you marry somebody with a weakness, if the person can change to adapt to the weakness. I have said it on this TV platform severally. We travel to Europe. We have grown throughout our lives in Africa, and we go to Europe. The climatic condition is not good. We adapt to it. We've eaten fufu corn and kati here at Chu. We go to Europe and go and meet some spices that are being fried with some ketchups. You adapt to them because that's the new environment you find yourself. So sometimes if you want to make a relationship to last, don't change a person. Develop means on adapting to the weaknesses they have. Because your love must have carried you to love the person even in their disadvantage. Because I think that true love also can make you accept somebody's weakness. But the issue is you must devise a means on how to adapt to that weakness. You can't love it, accept it, marry, and then want to fight it again. No, you were not blind. You were not blind.
Yes. Okay, Apostle Ambe, please, very briefly, we don't have much time. Mr. Liu, my question goes again to Apostle on the transparency of finances. If a man is expected to show only spendable income and not the entire income, how then do we reconcile the biblical verse of a man and a wife shall be one on finances and one in everything.
Okay. Brother, I think you are misconstruing the concept of being one. A man becoming one with his wife does not make the man have breast, but they are one. A man becoming one with his wife does not develop vagina because they are one. A man becoming one with his wife does not develop female secondary sexual characteristics. As a matter of fact, the oneness they are talking there is oneness in diversity. Understand this perfectly well, because it is taking scriptures out of context that gives a poor hermeneutic definition of what that scripture stands for. Yes. So when you say we become one, my brother, did you have a breast that day? Because you got married, so you became one with her. Did you have breast? Did you develop hips? Did you have vagina? No. You are one in spirit. You are one in purpose. You are one in vision, but you have diversities. That's why we say the body of Christ in Cameroon, we are not united because we have the same administration, the same doctrines, the same philosophy. We are united in diversity. You should accept this reality, because wisdom is profitable to direct. They did not ask you to live with her according to prayer or anointing. They asked you to live with her according to knowledge. Yes. Knowledge means you can use understanding to avoid subsequent problems in the house. Yes. It's lack of knowledge that destroys homes. So if knowledge tells you that you are not going to spend the money, why do you bring the money where you want? No, you will not spend it. The woman makes a plan on it. You want to start fighting her. Women only eat what they see. They don't eat what they don't see. They plan on what they see. They don't plan on what they don't see. As a matter of fact, the purpose for keeping that money aside is still for the betterment of the family. But it is at risk when you dispose it at a position where it can be easily spent. And you cannot blame a woman for making plan on the budget you have shown her. You give her the opportunity to see it.
Okay. If your wife tells you consistently that she cursed the day she met you and she regrets marrying you,
pack your things and leave.
Okay. Yes.
Just please permit me. I wish to say something with respect to what the senior apostle is saying. I plead to differ on the point that about the spendable finances you have to show your wife. Now, it depends on the kind of woman. You know, in every relationship, there is a spender and there is a saver. It depends who is a spender in your relationship and who is the saver. It's not always necessarily or usually the women that spend. There are women who don't spend. There are women who work as well and they even earn more than the men. And they don't spend. That's true. There are women who spend a lot, and there are others who save. Now, in a union, in your relationship, you have to define, after being together for some time, whether being in a courtship or you're married, you should know who is a spender and who is the saver. And the person, I will advise that the person who is the saver should be the one to manage the money. Because at one point we can be talking about men, that okay, men, you show your wife just part. What about the one that the woman works? And what if she's a saver in this case? What if she's the one who can actually hold you back from not overspending money? There are men who spend. The moment money enters their hand, it's as good as it is finished. I work in the finance sector and I know what I'm talking about. There are men who take that. The moment they take the salary, they go to the next bar. Before you know it, the money has gone, it's finished. They take their money, they're already thinking, they have not inculcated, they don't have the habit. It's by nature, it's by their personality. You know, they don't save. So it now depends. You might have a woman, which is that woman that will actually help you save money and plan well for your family. And you instead deprive her of that opportunity. It's good to identify. If I have a woman who spends a lot, that each time she sees money, she starts thinking about her dresses. Each time she sees money, she starts thinking about the big pot she wants to cook, the big meat and all of that. Then you should know exactly how to deal with that kind of a woman. But if you have a woman who can actually manage your finances and who can come to you and say, honey, please, let's think about this. You know, this money you brought is not good. Let's not spend this one. We have this project at hand. We need to do this. We need to do that. Please, let's just take, let's see how we can manage this little and we save this. Then you should be able to entrust your money into the hands of that kind of a woman. And in this case, when you have not given the opportunity in a relationship, if you don't give the opportunity for the saver, especially if the saver is equally works, if you don't give the opportunity for the saver to also decide or determine how your money is spent. At one point, the saver starts feeling deprived, start feeling like you are overspending your money, you're overspending our family money, you know. And if the saver too is that kind of person who holds all their money and will not release it out, they spend and now starts feeling equally deprived. You start feeling like you're being tied, they don't want you to spend your money, you're working. So you have to look at that equilibrium. You need to reconcile, you need to sit and look at who spends more.
Okay, Madam FORTINGLET, thank you.
It's not always the women. It's not that women.
Must you always respond to
no, I'm just bringing, it's not, how can I be, sorry.
Okay, now we are talking about the second topic here. Yes. Once we are in a situation, it's like a tree that is already fabricated. Can you burn it in the house?
Yes, yes.
That's, you are married. You have all the red flags that were ignored. But now you are in the house. Is it possible to change things?
From my experience and working with people for a very long time, I have discovered that there are many things that can be adjusted. Like we said, there are things that cannot be changed, but they can be adjusted. And there are other things that can be changed. There are behaviors that can be changed. Especially spendthrift, mismanagement of funds and all the like. Those things can be changed. There are some behavior patterns that can be changed. But there are others that cannot be changed because they are tied with temperaments. And they are tied with behavior. That's why I said that all of these things run around behavioral patterns and temperaments of people you're about to marry. And sometimes how they were raised, which has to do with their behavior. Your culture, where you were raised, can really influence you negatively or positively. But unfortunately or fortunately, cultures can be changed. Especially when they meet other superior culture. We're talking about our people who travel abroad, and then before you want to discover, they start behaving like the white men. They come to Cameroon, they don't want to stay again in that house that they used to stay before. They stay in hotels, and they feel like, you know, eating some kind of things doesn't make any sense. So they change. A lot of things can change. So I think that people can change, but now the mode of changing. How do we go about changing? How do we go about changing? That's what has always been the problem. People want to use force and power to change behaviors. It can never go. There are many ways that you can change behavior. Sometimes ignore it. Sometimes, you know, discuss about it. Sometimes dialogue about it. Sometimes think out of the box. Don't always think that this is how it is supposed to be. Like the African man who always believes that their culture, in their culture, it is the man that when he says the final say, it's the final thing. But no. You can always allow a woman to handle some things. Like in this area of finances, one of the best ways, and I think it applies even till tomorrow, when you discover that a woman is too poking into monetary issues and always want to do this, allow her to manage money. When you take the salary, give her. Shift. When she goes through and then pressure, she will never disturb you because she knows that she's the one that has taken everything and is managing everything. And remember, African man, let me tell you this thing, never depend on salary. Never put your mind on salary. Because how can you run a whole family with salary? That's why I don't believe in these jobs that take people from morning till night and they pay you 70,000 or 50,000. How do you want to manage marriage and manage home? Because, you know, entrepreneurship, that is why you see the president has come up to tell us about that, entrepreneurship. He said that people should go back to do some other things that can give them income. Multiple source of income is the ideal when it comes to financial management in families. Because if you come up and begin to bring salary, some women will work their own money, but look for your own small money that you're working. They have money, but they are targeting your own. Women have that kind of tendency. They must want to chop that of the man. They must chop the one from the man. So I think that no matter how bent something is in a relationship, it can be fixed. And there are diverse ways to be fixed. If you realize that there is a particular weakness that your woman always holds you there, fight on those weaknesses and handle it so that she will have no place to hold again. Especially if you're that kind of man that if you want to touch her in the night, she begin to say no. If you don't give me this one, I'm going to not touch me. Do this. Just ignore that area and discipline yourself from that area. Don't concentrate on it, but that she can see you sleeping all through the night without asking anything. After some time, she herself will come. You're starting cheating on me now. You're starting cheating. How come you're not asking? Because you used to ask me. Now you're not asking again because you are cheating. Then you begin to see how to come back again and fix it. These are the things. Women usually have some things they use to tie a man down. Men also have things they use to tie a woman down. We know of women too that have been tied down by men because they know your weakness. They know your area of weakness. These are the things that must be fixed in marriage before it can work. It must be fixed. Fix some things. Cut off some things in order to have a headway. And I've told you, never have this idea that you are the man. It will worry you. Sometimes being a woman, like Madam Asanji was talking about jobs by default. I don't believe in that job by default. There are some things you could do as a man. You can clean, can cook, can watch the children, you can take them to school, and you can bring them back from school. Those things, yes, these are normal things. Go out of these things. Don't leave these man-picking things. Man-picking things, and change these behaviors. And apply new styles to make your marriage better. Calm down. Sometimes you need to pipe low in order to put that home in order. Don't say my woman is now looking at young men outside. What makes this woman to start looking at young men? You begin to eat something, allow your stomach to be very big, and you don't have time to do the things that you have to do. What do you think? It's going to be a problem. At least take some, begin to be that. You see, like myself, I begin to cut down that because I know there's a lot of job I have to do that I'm not. Yes, a lot of things, a lot of things. So these are some of the things.
Okay,
so
okay,
I
please.
Bended things can be straightened.
Okay, bended things can be straightened. To what extent can you still hope that things can be changed, and at what point should you now apply the theory he just expounded here, yes, that you adapt to?
Yes, I think this is a very pertinent question, because a lot of times, most of the two we are saying here, we are approaching from different angles, and that's why you need a counselor, because the truth there is, it's not one fit all. But now, with what you have asked, the first thing is, I always tell every couple I counsel that you have to, whoever you're marrying, you are marrying as if the person will never change. I always tell the people I'm counseling, this person you're marrying, assume this person never changed. Can you live with this person you are seeing now all the days of your life? If you cannot, leave the relationship. Because it is very vital. Most people, especially women, maybe because you have seen one thing, or especially when it comes to money, finances, or something that makes you maybe favorable. Sometimes not only money, it can be fame, it can be the person's personality. Sometimes a girl even marries because many of her friends are dying for the boy. These are realities. And then you enter now and you are the one to face this. So anytime, ask yourself when you are marrying, can I live with this? If it is 6 on 10, can I stay with this 6 on 10 or this 7 on 10, like we have always given the rule here of measuring the number rule till the end? Now, I always say this especially to women. For the second part of the question you have asked me, Mr. Leo, I always say this especially to women. And every time I've advised women, I tell them, I advise you because biblically, socially, nationally, and internationally, to a certain extent, the man is the head and the woman is supposed to submit. I always tell ladies, be very careful that you don't marry a man that you don't know who can call him to order, because when it gets tight and the man plays the I am the man card, most of the time is the woman who suffers. No, let's be very careful, because when yes, as a man, it can make the house troublesome, but know this, there are men who can be in a troublesome home for 3 years and it means nothing to them. This is the truth. When like somebody's head or the boss can make the atmosphere unnecessarily difficult, because there will be a time that that executive order will come in. And if a man does that executive order, especially one way no go school, uneducated, no, because a man is a man. A man is not, a husband is not, that position of husband does not go little because the man did not go to school. Because the man does not have money like you. We must understand that it is an ordained position by God. It is something that it is there. So anytime a woman is saying, I do to a man, you are saying, I submit to you. I submit to your vision. I submit, and not because he's wearing trousers. I submit to your leading. I submit because you are taking me somewhere. Now, the danger is that if that man changes direction, you will discover that you will either choose to go with him or you would separate and he goes alone. And most of the times, women are always stigmatized when they leave. I'm talking especially in the African context. So you be very careful. I told one of my daughters that the day you say yes I do to a person and maybe he's beating you up and everything, before I call the police, I have to show I protect myself, because if I carry put up my house, I say, Pastor, don't take my woman. I'm very careful myself. Be very careful. So let it come to that place that you look into what is supposed to be, whether it's the finance, whatever it is, because a man can bring the executive order anytime. I am the man, and that is it. And now it becomes more troublesome in the home. So I think there must be a small balance in what we are trying to say here, because these red flags, don't just ignore red flags and jump because you wanted something. I said it here. I said it does not make sense to me that on Valentine's Day it's a man that is giving gift. It should be women that give gifts on Valentine's Day. I will not take care of you for the whole year, and then on Valentine's Day again I come and give you gift for taking care of you for 1 year. We should correct that.
Okay. Let's take a listen to please. Let's get over to Bumenda to listen to Mr. Asanji. Yvette also share on this topic.
They cannot change if because you want them to change. So change comes from willingness, the willingness to change. Oh, this thing I'm doing is not right, so it is affecting my relationship, it's affecting my marriage. So let me stay away from it. Change comes from willingness. If somebody does not see reasons why they should change, if you like, keep preaching on their head, they will never change. Until the day they see reasons that this thing is really affecting me, let me change. If they don't see reasons to change, you cannot change them. And they cannot change. So please don't get married to anybody thinking that you're going to change. Those red flags you saw before marriage, be ready for more of them. In fact, be ready because it will be magnified to another dimension. So it is better not to ignore anything red flags during courtship. Whatever you see that you're not comfortable with, it is the right time to talk about them. Don't keep them for marriage. No. If somebody even has to change certain aspects, they will change them before marriage. They will not tell that, wait, oh, get married. Well, we're not married now. We will change them. No. It doesn't work that way. So if you see anything that you're not comfortable with, it is time to address them during courtship. Don't wait until you are right there in the marriage before you start thinking of how to adjust it or how to work on them. And if you made that mistake of getting married to somebody and hoping that you're going to change them, and finally you are already there and there's no change, you have to live with your choice. Marriage is a choice. Who you choose is a choice. And every choice has a consequence. You saw it. It's not like you were ignorant. Like I was counseling somebody here and she said she got married to a scammer, and I said, but don't act like you did not know that he was a scammer. He said, yeah, I knew. I said, okay, but then you should know that scammers go and spend 5 days, they spend heavy days, on the machines. So what will you do? You need to learn to live with it. So if he comes home once a week, you saw it before you were getting married to him. Don't think that you're dating your courtship. Know that he can probably break your head during marriage. If she can insult you and say, oh, it was a mistake, insult you, maybe you are not man enough, or you are this, or you are that. If she can insult you, that is just Genesis. You will reach the Malachi of that version of that insult. In fact, you will even go to Revelations. So whatever you see as maybe a red flag during a relationship and marriage, that is who that person is. People don't behave by mistake. It's not possible. People don't act by mistake. If you want to know who somebody truly is, check how they act. Don't check about how they talk. Everybody can be a sweet talker. They can talk to win you, talk, to make you fall in love. But if you want to know who somebody is, check their behavior. Especially repeated behavior. Someone who cheats before marriage, don't get married and think that they will be faithful. Let's be honest. Because people get married with a lot of, I will change him. I will
change from this thing. Then that person will be able to change. But if you think you want to change that person,
using a link that we are going to be sharing with you. It's on our Facebook page. If you know which that's teacher, let us know why you consider the university the best for our students in Cameroon. We are going to be ending at this juncture. Apostle Ambe, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Leo. At least we're contributing to the well-being of humanity.
Okay, we also want to say thank you to you, Apostle.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leo, and thank you, my fellow panelists, and you out there. I'll be